Research is over, now welcome to First Mint. Looking for NFT content, look no further cause this is it. From Top Shot to blockchain, they got the data chops, analysis, and pack drops, the show's equator hot. LG and Phil D, the best amongst others. Best brothers to happen to ball since the Ball brothers. So settle in cause it's time for the best show. Ayo Quad, who we reppin'? First Mint. Let's go.
Oh shit. It's you again.
It's me, man.
Wow. Okay, so let me get this straight. LG, who I just saw in person, in the cut, in the flesh, less than 24 hours ago, is not available and gone on vacation and is not able to do this podcast. So we are back for week 2 of, you know what? I'm actually not going to say your name because in the First Mint Discord, I took so much shit last week for saying it the way I was saying it. And I'm just like, I don't understand what you guys are saying. People were questioning why I was so comfortable calling you just Chamber. They're like, no, dude, that's not how it works. So I don't know if these are people that know you outside of being on the show last week.
Okay.
But do you go by a different name than just Chamber? Like, do people actually call you Chamber Rekt or CR or something like that?
No, Chamber. It's always Chamber. Like that.
Okay. So somebody was just trolling.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
if
right.
you're feeling fun, you can call me Chad, but it's usually just Chamber.
We'll stay away from that. But welcome back, Chamber Rekt, for your second week of co-hosting the First Mint podcast. It's super nice to see you here. I'm looking forward to kind of getting some updates on some of the stuff we talked about last week from you. But for those watching on YouTube right now, Chamber, you have to explain your background. Last week we had, man, I don't remember what it was, but it looked like you were in outer space or something like that.
I forget what it was.
This week, you're either really in your actual bedroom or you've got some kind of like fake bedroom going on in the background. Why don't you tell us what's going on back there?
So no, this is my office / spare bedroom. I actually look like I'm in another room in your house. Like
in my house.
Yeah, like there's kind of similarities. Like I'm looking at the door. I'm like, I feel like I could just open that door over there and pop in on your side.
If that was some kind of weird thing and you were in another room in my house, that'd be pretty wild. But I know for a fact you're not, because we got these new curtains for the bedroom, and they're these kinds of curtains that take away all sunlight. And what I didn't realize is that I didn't have any idea that the room would be pitch black even during the day. So I was thinking, like, morning wise, for the last like 3-4 years, I've been sleeping with a pillow over my head. I don't like those sleeping goggle things. First of all, none of them fit me. My head's so big. Like, I put them on and I'm just like, what the hell is this? Like, I can't sleep with some like goggles on my face or like those sleeping eyeglass things. So I've kind of just find like the thinnest pillow I can find, and I throw it over my head. I also have the hearing of, what animal can hear really well? I don't know, maybe a bear. I have the hearing of a bear. If I'm sitting watching TV in the basement or in the living room, I will hear a car door outside. It's not even a joke.
I'm going to use that for the rest of my life now. I have the hearing of a bear.
I assume bears hear well, right? Because you're walking through the bush.
I feel like they're more smell based. I think they're more smell based location.
Well, let's just say, listen, I watch all those Netflix documentaries on animals. I still don't know which animal hears really well, but that whichever animal hears really well, that's me.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I think bear. I like bear though. I do like bear.
Okay. We'll go with a bear. Now, if there's any actual, you know what, LG will probably kill us for this because he's like a bear specialist. But and what was I saying, man? This is all your fault. I got completely derailed here because you
killed me with the hearing of a bear. I'm sorry.
Okay, so back. There was the curtains. So back to the curtains. I didn't realize that like during the day it's pitch black. So when I got home today, I said to my daughter, "How was your day?" She was home alone, and she said, "For the first time in years, I had to stay downstairs all day because I went by your bedroom, and it was pitch black in there, and it creeped me the hell out." She was not able to stay anywhere near that bedroom because it's
interesting.
So before you buy, if you're listening, before you buy these so-called curtains that take away all the daylight, it's wonderful on weekend mornings because for the first time ever this past weekend, I slept past like 7:30 or 8. I don't know if it was because of that or the fact that I stayed up super late, but either way, I managed to sleep. But man, these things are like weird, dude. Like if you enjoy
I have them in my office here. I open it. You can
there's
open them
no
up,
way
eh?
you've got those there. We wouldn't be able to see you right now.
No, but I mean, you can like they're curtains, so like you can open
Yeah.
them up. Like you don't have to always
Yeah,
have them
that's true.
closed.
Well,
So yes.
yeah, it gets pretty dark. So good thing I didn't put any in here because I have a history on podcasts. Before I did the First Mint podcast, I used to do a podcast called NBA 2K Expose Podcast. Actually, it was actually called the Expose Podcast only. And it was covering the NBA 2K League. This was 4 or 5 years ago. And I had a history of just fading into darkness where you would only see my teeth in the podcast because my lighting at home is so shit, man. Like LG sent me an entire lighting set
Yeah.
when we first started doing live shows, and I would turn it on, like I set it up. But dude, those lights made me look like I couldn't even open my eyes. Like go back and look, and everyone's like, "Dude, are you high?" Like I couldn't.
Do you not have a ring? Do you not have a ring light in your face right now?
No, I don't. What LG sent me was pure like movie production lighting. It wasn't like a light version of what you'd use for a podcast. It was what you use if you want to actually film a movie. Okay. And I was putting this in the room and I'm like, dude, I cannot do this. All right. So I would go, natural lighting. But the problem is these podcasts were recorded like 8 p.m. ish. And 8 p.m. ish, there's two options. If it's winter time here in Canada, obviously it's already dark.
Yeah.
If it's anywhere past like mid-June in the summer, you're already fading to dark by like 8:45. And if you go back and look, I'm telling you right now, there's at least 15 to 20 episodes where all you see is my teeth. I have like guests from all over the world on this thing, and I'm the host, and I can't do anything. It's a live podcast, a live show, and I can't get up and turn lights on. So I fade to darkness. So yeah, thank God I don't have those curtains in here, man. Let's just put it that way. I think I'll be okay.
I love it. I like the idea of just chattering teeth.
That's right. Chamber, what's new, man? What's new since last week? Have you been going on Threads? And a lot of people enjoyed our conversation last week. I even had a comment saying, well, I don't know if I can say exactly what this person said, but there was someone out there who will not be named, who may have been a contestant to be the co-host, but was not, that said that was my kind of episode. You guys covered, oh my God, I got to find the comment now. You guys covered, what the hell did we talk about last week? This person was so excited. Oh, we talked about Threads. We talked about this identifying as cats. I think that got this person very, very excited. Yeah. And I think we talked about, man, I don't remember what else we talked about. Anyways, they were super excited. So why don't you give us an update on Threads? I'm not going to lie, man. I have not been on Threads since we recorded that episode last week, more than opening it and noticing that there's a little search button now. That's all I saw. I didn't see anything else.
So I would say I didn't even notice that. So I would say I've opened it up a couple of times since our last chat. I just feel the momentum's gone. I was giving it a week.
I think so.
I gave it a week. Apparently there's a search button now, which is great. But yeah, I don't know. I think momentum shifted back to Twitter, I think.
It's the exact same. That's the problem, right? It's like
and worse.
Why would you take the kind of dummied down version or kind of the cheapened version of Twitter, right? Like why? For what? Right? Unless you can do something else that's super special, I don't see it being sustainable. So I still think it was a troll job. I think it's really
I do think like long term, it's good to have an option just in case something happens with Twitter. And who knows, Zuck may continue to add to it over the months and years. But I do think it is a good option just in case, worst case scenario happens with Twitter.
I think so, man.
But Twitter is king. Twitter is king.
Twitter's king. I've actually noticed less ads in the last week. I haven't been blocked out of scrolling by scrolling too much. I don't know if that feature is completely gone, but I haven't had the warning in a very long time now.
Well, that's good.
I kind of think Elon probably eased up on a few of those things when Threads came out. But then I'm seeing the same people who were giving the huge like peace out messages on Twitter exactly a week ago. Those same people are coming on like Twitter and being like, yo, check me out. I made a badass move this morning. I deleted my Threads account. Like a week later.
Oh my goodness.
It's like the tidal wave goes back the other way, and it seems that everybody jumps right back on the tidal wave. But then you got these sports teams. Like I said, I went on there once. and they're still pumping all their info out there. Like, man, they're going full out, posting on every platform they can. So it's not just Facebook, it's not just Twitter. It's now they're posting on Threads. Like, that's a thing, right?
Oh
And
yeah. I
they
mean,
don't have that many likes, but they're still doing it.
It's a social media manager's job. If there's a new, if there's a new outlet, they got to be posting to everything, right? Like, imagine the things we don't like.
That's true.
YouTube Shorts. You know what I'm saying? Like, somebody's got to post to that. It's not
YouTube
all the
Shorts. What the hell is that, man? Are you referring to, like, what was that? What was that thing before TikTok? Remember that old platform where it was like 10-second clips?
Yeah, no,
Oh,
it was
man, I remember that.
6 seconds, and it was
6
Vine.
seconds.
It was Vine.
As soon as I got into that, it was like gone. I was like, oh damn. But that was like the original, right? Like, I remember.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
And companies were starting to use it for like promotional stuff. I remember that.
No, that was legit. Gone. That was pure comedy. Great memes came out of the Vine generation.
Did Vine get bought out? I don't know the history.
I forget what happened.
They must have got bought out by somebody who probably turned it into TikTok. That would be my guess on what happened there.
Maybe
because TikTok, which I don't have, is very, very similar.
Are you not?
I don't know if I asked you. Did I ask you last time if you have TikTok? I always ask people this.
No, I do have TikTok.
Okay.
It's the second best app on the market right now.
Wow. So do you lose sleep over TikTok? Like at night, do you just scroll for hours on TikTok?
It can happen. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but it is like, I mean, the algorithm figures out what you like. Like, you would love it. You would love it. You would absolutely love it. It would just give you stuff that you like. It would give you like sports and whatever, movies, comedy, whatever you like, music. And it's literally, it's anywhere from, a 10-second video to a 4-minute video. And it's good stuff, man. I like it a lot. I think it's a great form of entertainment.
I'm hesitating the way I did early on with Instagram. I was just like, dude, I'm not joining this crap you guys are all on.
I don't do Instagram. So I do Twitter and TikTok.
Now that you do Threads, you do Instagram, because does it not create you an Instagram account right away? Isn't that what happens if you don't have Instagram? When you signed up, it must have signed you up for Instagram.
Yes, so I do have an Instagram account. I don't go on there.
You don't do it. Okay, yeah.
I do it for like my IRL job.
Okay.
But not for my fake persona, my fake Web3 persona.
Your fake Web3 persona. A lot of people don't know this, and this is a kind of a past I don't get into too much. You might have some internet detectives that go crazy, but I had an online handle, and I'm not going to say in what industry or in what kind of domain, that was mega like popular and,
really?
And like celebrity status years and years and years ago. Yeah. So, I come from a journalism background. I love writing. I've been writing for years, and I've been doing stuff like that. And I kind of parlayed that with something else and became like an internet sensation for a long time, but never under my actual name. So,
interesting.
So people don't know this, and I bet you could search it and find something, obviously. But yeah, no, it's fascinating how much I think nowadays, I don't think that'd be possible. I don't think it'd be possible to completely hide behind a person or a name like that, an alias, because to be popular, like you see all these people on Twitter that sell sports picks or that do other stuff, and they've got hundreds of thousands of followers, like all these influencers.
Right.
The reason that they are influencers and they have hundreds of thousands of followers is because they found a way to get on camera, promote themselves, and kind of build their brand that way. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I think this day and age, just being someone hidden behind a username would be really tough to build on, to be honest with you. Right.
Yeah. I can't even think of an example.
Like there are none. Like we know who everybody is now. There's even these guys like Deadmau and who was the other one with the marshmallow and all that? Like, I feel like that,
there's Banksy, I guess.
Yeah. Banksy.
I guess. I don't know. Like,
you'll always have some. Like we have one here in Toronto. So there's a rapper out of Toronto. And if AG is listening, I want to talk about AG just for a quick second. AG, known for being completely assaulted and destroyed by LG in that tweet like a long time ago. Do you remember LG asking AG if he ever shuts the F up?
I do remember that. Okay. That's so funny.
But listen, I get along with AG. A lot of people don't like him. I don't have a problem with him. I understand where LG was coming from with that, and that's their own thing, man. Whatever. But anyways, AG would appreciate this. There's a rapper out of Toronto. His name is Pressa. Okay. And he's part of, the Toronto culture, the gangs and all that. Doesn't live here anymore. He's now moved on to the States. He's got a couple of hits that have made it kind of mainstream in the US and Canada now. Anyways, his brother just came out of jail after 10, 12 years in jail. His older brother was a couple years older than him. And when he came out, he decided he was never going to show his face. So he does all these music videos and he goes around town and he's always wearing like a full mask.
Interesting.
I'm just like, if we weren't in the COVID era, would that actually fly? Because I actually see guys wearing masks everywhere in this city. Like there's people committing and not just crimes and stuff like that. Because now it's like a free for all, right? People wear masks into a Winners. It's not questioned because of COVID, right?
Absolutely.
Like you can get away with a lot. But yeah, he's gotten away with it so far. But you can actually tell he's like identical twins with his brother. His voice is the same. The eyes are the same. Everything's the same.
Really?
It's like, yeah. So I don't know what the decision was there. He just doesn't want anyone to ever know what
Does
he
he
looks
have like the Toronto man's accent?
Oh my God, yeah, absolutely. All those guys do, man. All those. I actually
so
enjoy
unique.
the
It's so
Toronto
unique.
culture of not just hip hop, but everything. I enjoy following so much. Like that rapper Top 5, who's now in jail for murder out of nowhere. I enjoyed following that guy when he was on social media because the guy was such a goofball, right? Like he stopped the entire highway to film a music video. He got in big shit for that.
Yeah.
And then he went and like killed somebody. Like, dude, what are you doing? Like, seriously, right? And now you're gone. So, anyways, I could follow that for years. It's when it's not violent.
What's the cool prison to go to in Canada?
The cool prison?
Yeah, like what's the cool
So the
prison?
one where actually this Top 5 guy just filmed a music video from that prison where he's being held for murder. And he's got all his boys.
I heard about this. I've heard about this guy.
So I think it's called, man, I forgot what it's called, but it's somewhere in the West End. And like these gangbangers, they pray to go there when they get arrested. Like they beg to go to this. Yeah, man, because one of the guys being held there, also one of the big ringleaders, he filmed himself eating like a huge lobster dinner recently. Like we're talking the full lobster tails and the mashed potatoes. Someone snuck that in for him.
I think I saw that on TikTok.
Yeah, man. And exactly. It was on his TikTok. He posted it. These guys actually are posting all over their social media.
You would love TikTok. That's what I'm saying.
Right? I don't know. I follow enough on Instagram. I feel like there's enough videos on Instagram. But while we're on the subject of Toronto, this came up with my parents in LG when we saw them yesterday. Have you been following the Toronto mayor race that kind of ended recently?
I have,
with Olivia Chow winning.
Yes.
Okay. So to keep this really short, Chamber, so we have a history, again, in Toronto of pretty wild mayors. All right.
Yeah, we could say that.
I think everyone's familiar with with Rob Ford, Doug's brother.
Robbie.
Because he even made it to the Jimmy Kimmel show where he was bombed out of his mind. He was saying all sorts of crazy stuff. Again, if you don't know Rob Ford, just look him up.
Just a real beauty.
He's dead now. But we're talking former drug dealer with his brother. Who came up through the trenches.
Right.
And when he was elected mayor, he just did crazy shit over and over and over again that made the news over and over and over again. And he kind of became
what's your favorite Rob Ford line?
Okay,
I got mine.
My favorite Rob Ford moment.
Yeah.
We've shown it on the podcast. You're on the show. It has to be when he was in that Jamaican restaurant in Rexdale and he was just rapping in patois, which is their language.
Yeah.
I
remember that one.
And I don't even know who he was speaking to. He was just addressing everybody in the restaurant. That or when he chased down one of the counselors in like the House of Commons for Toronto type deal. And he destroyed that lady. Like he ran into her and ran her over like a linebacker.
Yeah.
And my third favorite is the one where he was trying to play football at Nathan Phillips Square at City Hall. And he took a snap from someone and he rolled like 5 times on the ground. Like he just couldn't stop rolling.
There's so many great moments because you said those 3. I'm like, man, those are great moments. My favorite is when he was questioned about like I think it was like a extramarital affair.
I know where you're going.
The famous line, I have more than enough to eat at home, which I thought was,
oh my God,
chef's kiss. One of the best lines.
That is his best line. I think they made t-shirts out of that. So, you know what? It's just a mayor. So for me, that's very entertaining. And I kind of, a part of me was hoping Chris Sky would win just so we could be entertained for a long time. But Chris Sky is a whole other story. So that was a political battle that can be talked about.
I think long term, it's better that the outcome.
You have to have stability.
Yes.
No. You have to have stability at some point. So Rob Ford was for the people. That's what I liked about him. Okay, every decision he made was for the people. He just didn't know how to act outside of what he did. Like for me, that's kind of my feelings with Donald Trump too. I love a lot of the stuff that Donald Trump did, no matter what people say. But it's his delivery on things that got him where he is, right? And the way he did things, the way he said things, he's kind of another Rob Ford, but like times 100, where he just says and does crazy shit that he.
I would
doesn't
argue
need to
Rob
do, right?
Ford's
So,
more outlandish.
yeah,
Than
Rob Ford's a whole different story. Rob Ford's a legend, man. He's a Toronto legend.
Legend.
So anyway, so now we were handed Olivia Chow in Toronto. Okay, she just won the recent election, and one of her first moves. So for those who don't know, the transit system here is called the TTC. For the last year and a half or 2 years, we've had tons of issues with extreme violence. We're not just talking like, fights and shootings and stabbing. We're talking an international student was lit on fire on the subway and killed. That way she died. Another guy was stabbed to death multiple times.
Wasn't there an acid attack too on the TTC?
That was the one. Sorry, it wasn't lit on fire. It was an acid attack.
Yeah.
She was attacked by some crazy guy who just poured acid all over her and killed her. Another guy was stabbed in the heart, just waiting with his buddy on a bench near the subway or the train, whatever it was, by a random that stabbed. It's ongoing, where every single day something happens where someone gets assaulted. There are also kids going around turning fireworks on TTC buses and trains and just shooting everybody in there with fireworks. But we're on probably the worst streak we've ever been in Toronto in terms of violence and incidents on the transit system. So Olivia Chow, one of the first things she did when she was elected as the new mayor of Toronto, and there was actually an incident that happened the day before where there's a video out there. If you go look at TTC subway stabbing, you will find a disturbing video of two guys in a fist fight where one guy is actually beating the shit out of the other guy until the other guy pulls out a knife, stabs him. The other guy doesn't even know until he sees the blood. He runs away from the other guy. The guy chases him down and stabs him like a million times. He did not die, but it was on video. So he made it public. So Olivia Chow, the day after that, makes an announcement that her big solution to curb all the shootings, the stabbings, the beheadings, the acid attacks, all that on Toronto's transit system is to send counselors on the transit system to deal with these incidents. So not the police, not any armed security guards, or not even security guards, but she wants to send counselors who apparently, when these two guys are in the fist fight and the knife gets pulled, this counselor is going to stand up and say, hey, before you stab that guy in front of you, let's talk. Okay, this is the message I'm getting. So, and the reason I talk about it is because my kids take the TTC. My kids take the transit.
Right.
And I'm sick and tired of having to worry about them all the time and telling them, hey, travel in big groups. Don't talk to people. Stay away from people. I mean, we rode transit our entire lives to go to school, and we never had issues. It's not as bad as it is now. We've become one of the worst cities in the world for crimes on the transit system. So for me, for her to, like, I'm thinking if I was the mayor, dude, I would have announced like SWAT teams patrolling the freaking subway.
Yeah, I mean, does the TTC have its own security currently? Like TCT
they
security?
do, but the problem is they can't be on every single cart.
Right. I think you just up that number of total. You know what I mean? You give them bigger budget. They can staff more people. Do they necessarily have to be armed? I don't think so.
No, but Chamber, let's get it straight. We're both Canadian. That's the American way. Okay.
Yeah.
Any American listening to this, I know exactly your reaction, guys, especially you guys in the South. Your reaction is, well, if everyone on that train or that subway was armed, then you could all shoot the guy. But if we start shooting the guy, then
it's not good.
No, then somebody else will get shot and then probably shoot.
It's very. I mean, it's
pretty wild.
It is pretty difficult to still get guns in Canada, as many as there are in certain cities.
That's right.
Like, it's not easy. It's not easy to get guns. So, I think counselor, maybe not the number one priority. I would say just maybe increase security, that kind of thing. But I'm just some lowly peasant in southwestern Ontario here. I'm not in the big city.
I just don't see myself, if I'm seeing like a shooting, I don't see myself like calling the 800 number for the counseling line before I call 911 and saying, hey, can you send us someone on, cart 5 subway approaching York Mill Station? We need someone here. Guys are shooting at each other. I don't think so. I think council would be more for things like suicides and things like that. And I think, which is another major issue with transit system here. It's been an issue for years. I think that would be more along the lines of that. But anyways, that's what's going on in Toronto right now. We have a new mayor. The last mayor was thrown out of here in disgrace for having an affair with a much younger woman, got busted, tried to quit. Everyone told him, don't quit, stick around. We don't care. He quit anyways and left the city in financial shambles for years and years and years to come.
Do you think he just didn't want to do it anymore?
Oh, dude, it was about to be exposed how much money was like really in the deficit bucket for Toronto.
Right.
So he was like, yeah, let me just bail, because let's face it, you're never going to hear from the guy for a long time. We don't even know what he's doing right now, right? So yeah. The scandal was a perfect out for Mr. John Tory. Although I have to say, when he jumped in the water with that Raptors shirt, or that Raptors, like, it was like a vest or something. I think he jinxed the Raptors for years to come when he did that. So I don't know if you remember that, but yeah, kind of wild. Okay, on the subject of basketball, and we might as well jump into this right now because a lot of our listeners love NBA Top Shot. The great unlocking started a couple of days ago, Chamber.
Oh, really?
Have you been following that?
I have not. Explain what is this great unlocking?
So for those who don't know, and I'm sure all of you do by now, about a year ago, Top Shot told everybody, hey, you can now lock your moments and you will receive, some sort of incentive for doing it over time. The more you lock, the better. The more you lock sets, the more this, the more that. When you lock a moment on Top Shot, it stays locked for 365 days. Okay. And those 365 days, for whoever locked on day one, they are over now. A lot has happened on Top Shot in the last year. Okay. In the last year, people, week after week have said, as soon as my moments are unlocked, I am out of here.
Right.
I'm either going to give them away. I'm either going to burn all of them and just, whatever, sell all of them, take the cash and run and be gone. So now the time has come for people to put their money where their mouths are and start selling everything. And I've actually started to see a couple of things pop up here and there. I know Mike Zakarian is actually doing a show tomorrow, I believe tomorrow, Wednesday, for his great unlocking. And AG, who is being brought up for the second time on this show, has been doing giveaways now for the last 2 or 3 hours where hold on. I got to pull up what it says here. I got to pull this up. He is doing like trivia every like 20 minutes, giving away every single one of his moments.
Really?
And it is called, hold on. Let me tell you exactly what he does. It's called Fade to Black NBA Top Shot Moments Giveaway. He did 44 of them today before he stopped, where he would ask things like, who holds the NBA record for fouling out in just 3 minutes of action? Things like that. And I guess the first to answer wins whatever moment he chose to give away for that kind of question. So I don't know your current Top Shot situation, Chamber, but have you ever locked moments? Like, are you familiar with this whole
I have never locked a moment.
Wow.
I don't know why you would. Like, why were people locking them?
Because
was it to create like a false sense of like, that they wouldn't sell?
That was their way of kind of keeping people, is promising that there would be rewards for locking. And there were. Like, if you locked a whole set, you were rewarded. If that set was coming up and there was another pack drop, and you had a locked set from the previous season, you would receive like 10 free packs, something like that.
Okay.
Just small things like that, right? But at the end of the day, people kind of realize, they're like, well, wait a second, now I'm stuck like this for a whole year.
Absolutely.
Because a year ago, the financial situation on Top Shot was much different than it is now. Like, things have gone down even more. So if you locked and then in August you were like, well, wait a minute, I see where this is going, I need to sell everything, you were stuck for another year with your moments locked. And there was no like sending a DM saying, hey, I have a family emergency, I need the money, can you just like let me unlock?
Right.
No, there was none of that.
It's a contract. It's a contract.
Nope. But okay, so it was a contract, but in recent challenges, they started letting people burn moments that were locked, which is completely against whatever they promoted in the first place. When you lock it, you were supposed to be able to do nothing with it.
Right.
But then they kind of moved the goalposts and they're like, well, all right, for this challenge, because you know what they were doing? They were doing challenges where they were asking people to burn moments. And everyone was messaging them saying, well, how can I burn them when they're locked?
Right.
We're all locked up here. We can't even participate in this. I'm not buying another one. So then they're like, okay, well, your locked moments can now be burned. Right. So
That's
Yeah,
tough.
kind of
What's
moving the goalposts.
out of curiosity, what's the most egregious moment you ever purchased?
Oh, I'll tell you mine, and I'll tell you my son's actually, because he was in the game at the same time I was.
Uh-huh.
And for a kid who was, I guess, 17 or 18, I shouldn't say that because my daughter's account got banned. So she had, I told you, right? She had the, I don't know if I told you, but yeah, she had the account. She got banned for not being of age. She went to do the verification like they told her, and they banned her from Top Shot because she was 12. And they're like, you're not allowed to be 12. I'm like, okay, so hold on. So her $800 Jamal Murray in there just gets burned like that. And you guys are
Right.
closing the account. That's crazy. At least send it to me and
Yeah,
let
exactly.
me, cash it out or hold it for her, whatever, until she's 18 or whatever age it is. They're like, nope, we have to close the account. It's not reversible. We'll send you a couple free packs you can open with her and enjoy. I'm like, what? All right. Anyways, I never made a big deal out of that. But anyways, so he, in the middle of the big pump, when we're doing all these live shows, my son had accumulated a lot of balance, just like everybody else. Like we were literally all playing with play money. Looking back now, if I had 8 or 9 grand US in my account, I wouldn't be looking to buy the next big thing and turn it into even more money. I'd be like, man, I'm holding that until we are able to withdraw. Right?
Yes.
Like looking back, if there's one person out there that during the biggest pump sold their entire account and kind of kept that money in there, they are talking business right now. Some of our accounts are in the millions of dollars.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely.
Man, unbelievable. But anyways, that didn't happen. My son bought a Tim Hardaway Jr. What was it, man? It had to be like a metallic gold. I don't know. Something like that for like 2,200
for the Knicks, I'm guessing.
No, it was with
was it
the Mavs? I think it was the Mavs.
Was the
It
Mavs?
has to be. So, anyways, he bought. I don't know if it was Tim Hardaway. No shit. Who was it? Oh man, I don't know. Did Tim Hardaway Jr. ever play for the Mavs?
Yeah,
he did. Yeah, he did. He did.
Yeah.
So it was Tim Hardaway Jr. 2,200 US.
Oh,
okay. But that was a cheap one at the time. That was like
really
one of the cheap ones. And he was like, "Man, this is a bargain. Like this will turn into even more." Looking at it, it's
my
like,
worst one was I bought in the peak. I bought the first. It was like a regular moment, like it wasn't a fancy one, but it was the only Taylor Horton Tucker one available, and I spent like $290, $300, something like that. But I mean, it's just offensive. Like it's probably worth 30 cents now. You know what I mean?
Not even. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I held a lot of Luka, just base moments, the 60,000 ones, okay, or whatever it was. Maybe it was less than that, 40,000 in season 2. I had like 8 of them. And when everything was crashing, I had like major anxiety selling each one for $700 because they had been worth like double that. So I was selling them for 700 US, like flooring them.
Yeah.
And I was just like, man, I'm so mad at myself for doing this. Like I just sold 8 of them for 700 US on the floor. And looking back at that,
what a great move.
Great move. Had I not reused those funds on buying like God knows what, man. I can't even remember what I bought, right? I know we can't think like that, but like, man, if there's one thing I'd love to go back, like I'm serious, if I'm thinking lifetime in my life, if there's one moment I'd like to go back on, maybe financially, with all the bad decisions I've ever made financially in the first place, it would maybe be to go back to February of that year when my account read like, almost 100K US.
Yep.
And just cashing the hell out, man.
Now, was that the first bull market, like euphoria, you've ever really participated in?
I think so. Like I said before,
it's because it's difficult. It's difficult to navigate if it's your first, second, even third time, honestly.
I got smarter after. So like when that was my first experience with any kind of market. I'm not going to lie. I'm not into stocks or anything like that. So when LG brought me into Top Shot, right when the podcast started, I had no idea what the hell I was doing. Didn't know anything. I wasn't into crypto like LG was. I was, again, it took me months to figure out Top Shot by itself. I'm like, I still don't understand what mint means. I don't understand what this means, and getting into ETH stuff. Holy shit, dude, people were making fun of me. I didn't get into ETH stuff for like a year after that. And when I did, I was like,
you were in Top Shot for a year?
Not just Top Shot. I was the biggest flow maxi on the planet for the simple fact that I was able to use my debit or credit card to buy everything.
Okay.
And just do it that way.
Which is good.
Sure. But but I missed out on a lot.
Yeah, you did.
I'm not going to lie. Like, I don't know if you've heard this before, but there's a story out there. So when after we started the podcast, and everybody listening, I promise has heard this, so I'll keep it short.
Yeah.
But when we started the podcast, I kept throwing all these things at LG. Did you see this? Did you see that? He'd be like, yeah, it's cool. It's all good. I said, one day I sent him a message, and if I scroll my texts, or I have to scroll thousands of them, I would probably find it. I said to LG, like, dude, why does everyone have these monkeys on their profile picture? Like, there's these ape things that everyone's talking about, and they're getting them for like pretty cheap. They're like $200-300. Like at the time, wasn't that cheap, but I was like, that's like, why does everybody have these? Everyone on our timeline, and I'm new. Like I came to Twitter with 500 followers.
Yeah.
I went on the first mint. I started doing the first mint with LG, and I went to 12, 13,000.
Right.
Within a year.
Yeah.
So I was used to talking to myself, and I was used to not really following anybody of significance other than all the sports stars in Toronto and shit like that.
Yeah.
So I started seeing these monkeys, and I sent LG a text. I'm like, dude, what the hell is going on with these apes? They're everywhere. Should we get some? Okay. His exact words were something along the lines of, no, forget that. Nobody will give a fuck about them in a week. He said by Friday. This was like on a Monday or Tuesday. So you know what? I said every move I've ever followed. Like I used to listen to the First Mint podcast early on, take hand notes, because LG would give these little nuggets on which players to buy, and they would like skyrocket.
Right.
And I was making my money like that. Like I'd buy a Jokic for $20. By the next day, it was like 40. I was like, wow, here we go.
Easy.
I doubled my money. Right.
Yeah.
So I religiously listened to LG when it came to stuff like that. And rightfully so. But he will always regret telling me that, because if he had just said, yeah, sure, give it a shot, I probably would have got like, 4 or 5 of them for the hell of it. And I feel like that would have been maybe not life-changing, but it would have been game-changing.
Listen.
Now would I have held them to the top?
That's the whole
dude.
point.
I would have bailed a week later for sure.
So I'm pretty deep. I'm pretty deep into this, PFP culture. And I was, one of my co-hosts texted me one night. I happened to be like, I think it was like on the couch, like I was kind of passed out. And he's like, oh, these Bored Apes are, they're almost done minting out. So-and-so just tweeted about it. And it was like, honestly, it was probably like 1 a.m. here, and he's on the West Coast. I was just like, okay, I'll just look at it in the morning and, whatever.
Yeah.
And they ended up selling out, overnight. And I was just like, they sold out. Let's see what happens. And all of a sudden it was just like, it was 0.25. It was 0.5. I'm like, oh shit, like this is going. I ended up grabbing a couple at like 0.7, 0.75 maybe Ethereum. But you're 100% right. Like I'm here to make money. So this was an opportunity, right? Like I've gone through a couple of different cycles, and I can't stop myself sometimes from making bad decisions. But more often than not, I can make some smart decisions. So I had 3 or 4 of them, and then I sold them all for like 5 ETH each.
Okay,
and it was great. It was great.
Sure.
But I could have had 500 ETH.
That's right.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
that's me, dude. That would have been me 100%. I wouldn't have been able to resist at 5. I've been like, yeah, I'm out.
Of course. We're making what, 10 grand a freaking monkey picture? Come on. Okay. I'll take,
That's right. Well,
yeah,
I know you can't look back at that, but I think that one will always sting, just for the simple fact that I feel like if I was more familiar with ETH, I probably wouldn't have even asked LG. I would have just done it.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Had he told me, yes, do it, or do whatever you want, I would have had no clue how to buy these things. It took me forever to like figure out everything from how to convert money to Ethereum, all these gas fees, how to press the buttons at the right time, and how I was so lost with that. So the community went crazy.
Ever again, by the way.
The community went nuts when I first jumped in. Either like, yo, hold on a second, TheReelPhilD's in ETH stuff. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I'm so cool. Here's what I'm buying, and it was like the worst stuff ever. Like I was buying everything I was buying was kind of like just turning into nothing. I bought something called. I always joke about it.
I've purchased terrible stuff, so
it's awful, right? Like I was purchasing just random shit, man. Like, and then I finally got into ETH. People were gifting me stuff. Like I got some cool gifts.
Oh yeah.
Is it the Doge Pound? Is it Dog Pound? Doge
yeah.
Anyways, we used to have Crypto Babe all the time on our show. And when she was part of the founding team for those, she was like to me and LG, she's like, here, I'll give you guys like 5 each if you want. And LG had always told me, like, dude, be careful. When you take gifts, it'll always come with, expectations.
Sure.
And people will maybe look at you differently. So this was when I was really green. Now I would tell LG to F off. I'm taking all 5.
Absolutely.
But I was like, no, thank you so much for the offer. It's all good. Shit like that.
You said no, don't send
I said
it to
no
me?
because he told me, dude. Listen, the first mint was doing so well back then.
Yeah.
We already had so much stuff coming our way that he's like, just be careful with freebies.
That's honestly, that's probably
Right?
good advice for the moment, for sure.
No, seriously, it was like the things people offered us at the time. Now, of course, looking back, I'm like, dude, I would have said yes to everything.
Take everything.
Take everything. Screw everybody. But no, back then I was like, no, I was all polite, like things. She vanished anyways, but she was willing to give us like 5 each or whatever.
That's amazing.
So I was like, okay, well, yeah. But back then they figured, you know what, if we give them stuff, they'll promote them. That was the thought process, I think. But looking back, I wish I did. So anyways, what happened was a lot of people gifted me stuff. Just they didn't even ask. They just put it in my I guess my ETH account, whatever the hell it's called. My OpenSea, whatever.
Yeah, your ETH
my
wallet.
crypto. My ETH wallet. So and then that Christmas, the ENS thing happened right before Christmas. That whole ENS thing happened. LG actually purchased the TheReelPhilD.eth for me and sent it to me. And then he's like, dude, if you like, you can do the redemption now for those coins. When those coins, I don't remember what that was. Me, I'm freaking out. I'm looking at the conversion thing. I'm like, yo, I can get 10 grand right now. Like, this is crazy. So I'm pressing all the buttons. I'm trying to do the conversion. So I go on my phone. I'm in that like portal to convert my coins to actual money.
Yeah.
And I can smell the money, dude. I'm so excited. I'm like, yeah, here we go. Right before Christmas, 10 grand. This is amazing.
Yeah, amazing.
So I click on my MetaMask on my phone and it's just like not going. So I delete the app off my phone because I'm like, you know what? This is a piece of shit. I'm so mad right now. Every time, and I didn't realize at the time it's because the gas kept changing. So it wasn't accepting me hitting the like transaction button.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
But I didn't know this. I'm like, dude, this thing is malfunctioning. I'm gonna kill somebody. Okay. So I kept malfunctioning. I delete the app. I go back in, and every time I've gone into my MetaMask app, it's always asking me for a password, which I know. It's all good.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
I delete the app. And what is it asking me for? Seed phrase.
Yeah, what the fuck is a seed phrase?
I'm like, no, I knew what a seed phrase was, but I'm like, hold on a second, dude. I don't have a seed phrase. I don't, where did I put this? I wrote it down somewhere the first day. And LG specifically told me, it's like, dude, when you open that wallet, okay, you need to use this special thing called locker, whatever, and lock your stuff in there. And me, I'm like, yeah, all good, right? I obviously didn't do that. But everything he had gifted me, because he was gifting me stuff to get me started on stuff. Arsenic was gifting me stuff. He gifted me one of those Pac-Man heads from Genies that were worth like, man, they were worth a lot of ETH at the time. And there was only 40 of them. And he gifted me one. All those things were in there. And my excitement just to convert those damn ENS coins to 10 grand got me locked out of that account forever. So
that's heartbreaking.
Dude, I went through my phone because I'm like, my style is to take a picture of a seed phrase. And I know I did, but I don't know where it went. It wasn't in there. And I did everything in my power. Like, I think I didn't sleep for like 5 days after that. So that money stayed in limbo in that transfer portal there. Okay. And I lost everything in my ETH wallet because it's still there. If you look it up, it's still there. It's just stuck, dude. Like, it's there, and I wrote the messages, and there's nothing they can do. I even got like a tech pro to go through the history of the computer I had used. The one time I went into my son's PC and went into MetaMask from there, they're like, if you logged in from MetaMask just one time from there, then someone will be able to retrieve it.
Yeah.
Well, he had cleaned out the whole memory because that's what kids do at that age. They play these video games and they clean out memories and they go nuts trying to reprogram all sorts of shit. Dude, I don't think I've had such a low moment maybe in I don't know how many years than when that, because I was just getting into ETH and then everything was gone, right? Like, I'm like, all right, well, I guess I go, what kind of bullshit is this? What kind of planet do we live on where I can't like use a password retrieval of some kind, but you can't. It's just not how it works. I think eventually we'll get there, but I think, I learned my lesson the hard way that time.
Yeah. I mean, well, I think that, it's tricky, right? Specifically with cryptocurrency. The beauty part is it's decentralized, but so you're in charge of everything, but unfortunately you're also in charge of security, which is it can brutal. It can be tough sometimes. I actually my house got broken into back in 2020. And some shit got lots of stuff got stolen. And my laptop was one of them.
Oh no.
So I transferred a bunch of stuff over. And it took like maybe a month. And I thought everything was good. Like a month had gone by. And all of a sudden, like I see like 5 ETH out of my wallet, like just disappear. And I'm like, well, that's strange. I'm like, where'd that go? And sure enough, I'm like, oh shoot, like they were doing like a test run. So I'd start moving stuff so fast. So I mean, it's crazy.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, it's you got to be
my
careful.
worst fear. That actually happened recently with a bank account too of mine, where it's just random people. These thieves and these like scammers have crazy ways of accessing your stuff, and it's scary, man. Like honestly, like security is like prime right now. So I actually listened to LG pretty closely last time. He gave me so much shit, man. After that happened, he was just like, dude, what the hell did I tell you? Very first thing, you know. He's like, I swear I told you, man, lock that thing up. Like, you gotta keep it somewhere. Even now, when I open new wallets and stuff, man, I just throw the seed phrase somewhere. I'm not that careful. Yeah, I don't plan on keeping anything. I'm
not the best still. Like it's 2023. Man. But I'll tell you what, this is good advice, because I tell people this all the time. I've gone through 4, 5, 6 cycles now where I'm learning every time, right? It's, I got in with, Bitcoin and Ethereum and altcoins, and learn some hard lessons there. But the best lesson I've learned, honestly, is when things are good, when you're getting euphoric. And when I'm saying euphoric, you start thinking about stuff. Like when your account was at, 100K, 200K, and you start thinking about things, right? You're like, oh, what am I going to do with this? Oh, you're showing your wife, or you're showing, oh, check this. Look what my account's worth now. These are red flags. Okay. This is, so next time it happens to you, you get excited. It might not be with NFTs. It might be with something else. And you start thinking about all of it means we're close to the top. And the best thing you can do is when you have an account like that's getting up, when you start getting 100K plus, start taking money out. Like, especially here in Canada, it's very simple. You get yourself a financial planner, and you take money out of your account. Might not all of it, but give it to somebody who's going to put it into the legacy markets, into RSPs, into TFSAs, into, your kids are in school now, but into, education funds and stuff like that for your kids. That way, like I have so much, I could still lose everything today and be like very happy that I've taken money out of the, the ecosystem, and is somewhere very safe where I don't need to worry about it. I have passwords for everything. I have people taking care of it for me. But that's the best thing you can do, is when your number gets real, it starts cooking, take some off the table. You don't have to take all of it off the table, but take some off the table. You're going to feel great about it a couple of years down the line.
That's good advice. Is that financial advice or not?
It is.
Financial advice?
Everybody's scared to give financial advice.
You don't shy away from that.
That's good financial advice. Take some money off the table. That is
pretty good, man. There's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with good. Exactly. Not telling everybody to buy Bitcoin.
As long as you came away with something, I think you did well in the space. It doesn't have to be, I mean, sure, we all made mistakes along the way, but if you came out with something, man, like I think you did well. Like you said, you're kind of money based. I feel like that too. Like the sports stuff I collect just for fun now. I've moved to that next phase where I don't think about making money anymore, right? And that saved me a lot, I think, because it saved me actually a lot of, anger, kind of management stuff, because so many people were so angry at Top Shot when it stopped making the money. And for me, it was just like, okay, I missed the boat on this. I still made some money, and I was able to withdraw some good money. But now I'm just collecting for the hell of it. I don't have expectations. So I'm not one of those who's going to be selling off the entire collection, because I only own stuff that I want to own, and I don't give a shit if it's not worth more than $1. Do you know what I'm saying?
100%.
So that's my thinking. And I try and do that with everything. Now, speaking of ETH projects, we don't discuss ETH projects too much here. But I couldn't help but seeing over the last couple of days on my timeline, nonstop, over and over again, these new like Gumby looking things that Thread guy was posting.
Oh, yeah.
And I looked them up, and I honestly cannot even pronounce the name. It's like, hold on, I have it here. It's Opepin. Is that what it is?
Opepins. Yeah,
Opepins.
Yeah.
What the hell are Opepins, dude? And what's the whole story? Because I tried to educate myself on what Thread guy did. I saw everybody congratulating him on the big bonus and the big money, but I didn't think that he was the founder of Opepins.
No, he partnered.
So what's the story with that?
So Jack Butcher
Okay.
who's a artist, like an
Mhm.
actual artist who pivoted over into Web3.
Right.
If you're familiar with like checks, they
Mhm.
were a couple months ago.
Yes.
They had a really
Yes.
really big, a big run up. So I don't know all of the story, but basically what happened is Jack partnered with Thread Guy for this, I think a specific brand of Opepins for Thread Guy and his followers.
Man.
But yeah, did they make some money? It good? Everybody made money. It sounded like so. I'm happy for everybody. I'm not here to tell people to start buying NFTs again because, I have, we're on an NFT show. I have my own NFT show. I do think it's a Web3. I think Web3 is what we need to be talking about and ways to make money there. But I'm going to tell you, don't go chasing pumps on NFTs right now because it is not where you want to be. The volume is not there. There are too many people underwater right now
Mhm. That's
that
right.
I mean
Yep.
it's just not a good decision. So
Mhm.
it sounds like everybody made money through Thread Guy. That's great. I'm happy for them. Thread Guy is really it honestly is a really good uh, a really good proponent of the Web3 community.
Mhm. I agree.
And, he does a really good job. He's here all the time. So good for him. But yeah, I'm not here to, I don't have any hot NFT tips right now. And I'm
So,
not looking to purchase any right now either.
so the story with Thread Guy, I just read it real quick because I
Yeah.
had seen a post earlier and I didn't have time to read it because I was driving. So I saw the story now. It's that the person that owns like the most expensive, or sorry, the person who's the most heavily invested in Opepins
Mhm.
with like 700 of them, contacted Thread Guy and offered him $40,000 to, I think, have their
His,
Opepin as a
as
profile
his,
picture
right.
for
Yeah.
3 months. Okay,
Is that what it was for
free.
3 months?
Yes, free
Okay.
money is what it says. Okay.
Yeah.
Thread Guy turned it down because we all know he's still on that Jenkins salary of like God knows how much he gets
That's
paid
right.
with that.
That's a
Right.
good point.
So he doesn't really need to do things like this. Yeah, 6 figures apparently is what they say. I don't really know. But anyways, I know he's doing well for himself. So apparently he turned that down and then he contacted that guy that you just said, or because that guy apparently has the rarest Opepin or something like that.
Oh, is that what it is? Yeah.
Yeah.
Jack
And
Butcher.
Thread Guy went ahead and changed his profile picture to that guy's Opepin, the most rare one,
Mhm.
without getting paid for it. And then that guy, Jack Butcher, decided to honor him by, I guess, allowing a mint of that,
Right.
like a side mint of that Opepin, the most rare one, for what was it, 20 cents each or $2?
Yeah, $2. I think it was. Yeah, it was
$2 when
$2.
you convert the ETH. And I guess giving the proceeds to Thread Guy, which turned out that in the first, I guess, 24 to 48 hours, Thread Guy has made like $60,000 or $70,000, and
Yeah.
it might even hit $100,000. So great decision by Thread Guy, if that's indeed what happened, to turn down the initial offer.
That sounds very familiar to what I heard. I couldn't remember exactly, but
and he's got people buzzing again, like I haven't seen in a long time for an ETH project. Do you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
This is how it works, man. It kind of shows you the power of Web3 when it comes to, getting things kind of lighting a fire when you don't have even matches to make it happen, because others have tried and nobody gives a shit right now. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty wild, man. That's pretty wild. I'm intrigued. I'll put it that way, but I don't think it's enough for me to mint. And I see everyone posting saying join the culture.
No,
All right. But
don't join.
how
the
many have been
culture.
minted now? Like hundreds of thousands of
Listen, if you're not already in it, it's too late. If you hear us talking about it,
I've always said that, man.
It's too late. You need to be the one talking about it. You need to be the guy or the gal saying, hey, Phil, hey, Chamber, check out this thing. You know what I mean? That's what you need to be.
Hold on, though, because when we had the Doodles team on one of our live shows, they were in the back of an Uber, because that's like how much they cared about being on our show. Is they just like, yeah, we'll do it at 7. We'll like, all right, we'll just pick up the call on our phones and go on the show. Seriously, they were in the back of an Uber.
Maybe that's a good thing. Like maybe they
And I'm
wanted
like,
to be on the show so bad.
these guys are like, whatever. We'll just answer the call. And back then when they came on, like doodles were just starting up. They were nothing, man. Like,
Really,
we're
eh?
talking. Oh yeah, they were like, man, nobody.
Did you guys get involved?
I didn't. Listen, I told you my stance with ETH projects, man. I was like, dude, I want to get involved. I just have no clue what the hell I'm doing. Okay, so I'm gonna let LG just like get a bunch and maybe he'll give me one. I don't know. Like that was my mentality back then. So anyways,
Hey, that
LG.
works.
I will say this: LG did get me into that disastrous doodles party at NFT NYC last year with his doodles. Now I wish I never got in there, but wasted an entire night sitting there waiting for chain smokers and had to listen to their CEO just have the big fanboys and fangirls like fainting when he was on stage. Anyways,
really,
yeah. But they just go show you at the time we talked about doodles, but doodles wasn't even known back then, right? It was kind of just starting up, and but that's kind of what the first mint was about. It wasn't for projects where things had already just gone bonkers. It was more for people who wanted to introduce their projects. We found them interesting, so we'd bring them on to talk about it and see what happens. But Chamber, like, what are we doing here? I know these OPEPins went nuts, but that was kind of just for fun. I don't think anybody expects to make big money off of these. But do you think like we'll eventually have another, Bored Apes or another Doodles or something that makes people good money and that becomes kind of viral? To the point where you have a community like Bored Apes who are now apparently going to Hong Kong for Ape Fest. Dude, we had skipped all the events this year, but we said, you know what? When they announced Ape Fest, we are going to that shit because we loved it last year in New York. And now it's like in Hong Kong. I'm not going
who's got the ape though?
Oh, LG's got a mutant.
Okay. All right. That gets you in.
But it's not that. You know what? In New York, I was able to find so many people that are like, yeah, I got apes, man. I got a free pass to get in. Come on in with me. I was just writing off everybody, right? So but yeah, so what's next for ETH projects and kind of things like that, man?
I mean, what I'm
I don't know. I want to jump back into it, but I don't think
what I'm doing myself, it's I personally don't think NFTs, at least in the short term, are going to be where the money is. I have most of my my gunpowder is in Ethereum, Bitcoin, and USDC. And I'm waiting. I'm just waiting. And it worked out. It worked out well. It worked out well for NFTs. I did the same thing during the DeFi run. And it worked well very recently in the meme coin season we had back in whatever it was, April or whatever it was. May. It was May. First week of May. It was because it was Cinco de Mayo was like the peak of
I think it was confusing for me. I was like, what the hell's going on here? Like,
but this is, if you have your ear, if you're plugged in, like you're a guy that's plugged in, you got, people, what's happening.
I have tweet notifications on for a lot of accounts.
Yeah,
man, I do.
So you just need to stay plugged in. You keep your money ready. And when it's time to, spend it, it's time to spend it. You'll know. I definitely like with, most recently with meme coin season, I didn't get in with Pepe, but I made, I made money on all the other, because of what Pepe was doing. I knew that there was going to be some spillover. There was going to be other meme coins, which turned into meme coin season. And I was right. There was, a dozen, maybe 20 coins at like 20, 30, 50x. And as long as you were participating in some of them, like, I remember fooling around with maybe the first one was like maybe like 2 ETH. And within 2 days, it was 17 ETH. Like, I mean, it was nuts. It was nuts. So those are the types of things I'm looking for. I'm not seeing it yet with, anything specifically. It could be NFT based. It could be cryptocurrency based. It could be something completely different. I don't know. But I would say right now is a time just to wait and see. Let's keep our ear to the ground and wait for the next opportunity. Because there'll be opportunities. It's fact. There will be opportunities. Okay. We just got to wait.
Okay.
Because I was worried. I was worried in March of 2018 that I would never make money ever again, and things happen. You will have opportunities to make money again.
I like
in
that.
this
I like
space.
that because LG actually crushed my kind of spirit when we were going to NFT NYC last year. It was like my first big event. We were on the plane, and he was sitting beside me, like recording shit and like editing shit and all sorts of stuff like that. And he looks at me, and he straight up tells me, he's like, "This is the end of NFTs. Like, this is the series." He didn't say season. He said, "This is the series finale, NFT NYC that year." He's like, "This is it." I'm like, "The hell are you talking about, man? I mean, we're coming back next year. It's gonna be great, blah, blah, blah." He's like, no, this is the series finale. We don't know when it's gonna come back or if it will ever come back. But for now, this is the end of season 1. There's no signs of a season 2. And this is it. And then I go like on a 4 or 5 day, bender in NFT NYC. Every party is just popping. I'm meeting all these new people. The goblins are driving trucks around town, like crashing into like freaking fire hydrants.
The goblin
man.
food trucks?
Dude, we left Ape Fest that one night and there was a goblin truck and with actual goblin people inside serving goblin burgers.
Yeah.
And when you'd see them drive off, like we saw them around town, they were like swerving all over the place. Like they were playing the role even when driving. Like they were like going, yeah, it was nuts. But I left there like one of the greatest experiences of my life just because of the people I met and the events I went to and the excitement. And he continued to remind me that that was it. It's over, dude. So now this year when NFT NYC came up, I was like, man, we're not even going to this thing. I don't think anybody we know is. I don't know of any parties there. Like, it's incredible how accurate he was in the sense that, you're right. We think it's the end, but he called it the series finale, and the series could come back at some point.
So no, I would,
right?
What's your favorite show? Do you have a favorite
I watch
show?
reality shows, man. I watch so much reality TV.
Okay.
Outside of that, I do watch
like what's your favorite reality show? What's your favorite reality show?
We can't get into that, man. I'm going to take too much flack for that if I tell you what my favorite reality shows. I have to say, one of my guiltiest pleasures ever is all the housewives shows.
Okay.
I love those shows. The drama on there for me, fights, drama of cheating and all that. That's my.
Were you a Jersey Shore fan?
Biggest Jersey Shore fan on the entire planet, man.
So do you remember how you felt on the series finale of Jersey Shore? You're like,
but which one? It's still going right now.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I'm not playing. My point. So I'm gonna use shows that I know.
Okay. No, you're right though. There was a moment where they were like, "That's it." They said goodbye to the house forever, and my dreams were crushed because I was like the biggest GTL guy when I lived in the States for a couple of years. I was like, man, I was living by that kind of thing. Right? Like
Toronto guys and New Jersey guys.
They really do.
There's a similarity there.
Yeah. Give me a better example. Like what I know what you're getting to.
Like, so say when The Sopranos ended. Okay.
Oh yes.
Okay. I'll never have another show like that. And it was so good. And then you're maybe you're feeling, like you'll never be that happy again watching television. And then Breaking Bad comes out.
Yes, I love.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And then that ends. But then there's always something else. So yes, it might be the series finale for NFTs, but Breaking Bad is just around the corner.
That's so good.
You know what I mean? Like there are opportunities. There'll be new shows to watch, and it could be, it could be NFT based. Like the money was made, like, because I do think Top Shot was a separate thing. Mm-hmm. So Top Shot had its own separate bubble, and it was before the NFT bubble. Mm-hmm. And it's Top Shot, it's Zed Run. There was some early NFT based, money making games that you could play. You know what I mean? And then it was, Then it was, yeah. Remember Zed Run?
I haven't heard that in forever. I actually had some horses people gifted me in that wallet.
Absolutely.
Locked up.
I was a big Zed Run guy. But I remember doing that and Top Shot right around the same time. But then it was the PFP bubble, which was bigger and there was a lot of money to be made. But I do think, so it could still be NFT based, but it just won't be PFP based. You know what I mean?
I agree.
So I think that there'll be some money to be made. Like, I mean, we were talking about Jack Butcher earlier. I mean, you could have made money on checks. I think it was March of this year. You know what I mean? That's not that long ago.
Yeah, no, that's recent.
And you could make a lot of money in NFTs. So it's just a matter of, I mean, I don't know what these Opepins are selling for now, the ones that you bought for $2, but maybe they're selling for $20. You know what I mean?
But they're still being minted, aren't they? Like
I don't
I think
know.
it's an open mint, man. I do. I don't know. I don't
Ugh,
really know.
that's
So
rough. That's rough.
it's again just for the culture is what people say. So
Yeah.
that's
So
the line.
that's fun. But I do think there'll be something NFT based that you'll make money on. I do think that something cryptocurrency based, like another meme coin season, but not meme coins, but something similar to that, I think would be before an NFT one.
I don't think those will ever die. Like people love
Oh,
that
they're
shit. Like
so good.
today in the cafeteria at work, which I rarely go down there and eat, but I need to get a sandwich. I went
Where are
down
you?
there
Did you
and
have you ever told anybody where you work? Because you've mentioned cafeteria twice, and I'm like,
okay,
what
so
work?
I
Has it
work at I don't really tell the random public where I work, but the close people to me know. I work at a major car manufacturer,
Okay.
luxury brand, automotive head office.
Okay.
In the GTA area.
What kind of
We,
cafeteria are we talking about? I'm more curious about the cafeteria.
we're
Like
talking like
what's in this?
cafeteria
What
where
do
on Wednesdays is always fish and chips. On Thursdays is make your own pasta. On Fridays is barbecue day. On
Oh,
Tuesdays is usually random. And on Mondays is like burrito days. Okay. Things like that. There's also a salad bar and a sandwich bar that resembles a Subway location where you
okay.
can make your own sandwiches. So today I saw a huge lineup to pay. Paying is the simplest thing. You show what you got, you pay, you're out of there. There's never a lineup.
Is there
There
a
was
deal? Like, what are we paying on
yeah.
average?
So well, listen, it's subsidized. Okay.
Okay.
A massive plate of fish and chips with the
Yeah.
fries, the salad, 2 or 3
That
pieces of
costs you
fish and chips.
Cost you $20-$30 at a restaurant.
Cost you $20-$30 at one of those. I forgot what those fish and chips places are called here, but yeah. We pay, and this is a new price. It went up $2 over the years, over the last couple of years. We pay $5.75.
Oh,
Okay. So
good deal.
people used to take it home because a deal like
Why
that,
wouldn't
they'll
you?
get like 4 or 5 orders, take it to the whole family, feed the whole family.
Absolutely.
But now they got rid of takeout containers because of all these rules in Canada and in the provinces. You can't have plastics, you can't have nothing. So
Right.
for anyone who wants to take them home, they literally have to bring their own Tupperware now and
Right.
like dump the stuff in there and take it home. It's a shit show.
This is very
right?
interesting. This
It's
is
brutal.
good.
Anyways,
What's
so
the
my
best
son used
day?
to
What's the best day, by the way?
listen, make your own pasta is the best day. Ever since the university college days for me at York, I used to go there and have the pasta all the time and like die. But the problem is if you're planning on working the afternoon and you have the pasta,
Yeah. no
forget
good.
about it, dude. You're
Yeah.
literally falling asleep, burping garlic, all sorts of shit like that, and you're not working the rest of the day. But my son used to call him and be like, dude, do you want like because he's training for hockey and things like that. I used to be like, do you want some pasta? He'd be like, yeah, give me the meatballs, the mushrooms, everything, the works. And I'd bring them in these huge containers and bring him a ton of it home. He'd devour it. He'd keep it for the next day, whatever. That's not possible anymore. Okay. I'm not bringing Tupperwares and flipping from plates to all sorts of shit. But so the best day has to be pasta day. Fish and chips a close second. People actually plan their days in the office based around what's being served. And HR decided to flip the menu around so that people don't do that. They're like made it random now that you don't know until the morning you come in what it's going to be.
Really?
So, yeah. Oh, yeah. So people came on a Wednesday. They're like, yeah, fish and chips. And then they were like, yeah, it's like random sandwich day. And I was like, freaking pitchforks came out, man. I came all the way here from Mississauga and your own, no fish and chips. But today they have a new banking system for when you pay, and it didn't work. Okay. It was declining people's cards.
Like a new machine?
It was a new system, not a new machine.
Okay.
So I heard someone upstairs call their bank and be like arguing with them that they have money and they can't use their card. I was like, well, that's kind of weird, right? Maybe this person doesn't usually have money and they thought they got declined. So I went down there and I saw the chaos. So I started screaming like, hey, can we use Bitcoin or Dogecoin? And dude, the looks I got, man, people are like, what are you talking about? Like still people have no clue what the hell that is.
They didn't know. They were. I thought they were giving you like
clue.
I thought they were giving you the stink eye.
And the guy was laughing about Bitcoin, but when I said Dogecoin, he's like, "What? Like, huh? Like, no fucking clue, man. No,
that's amazing.
So it didn't land with anybody.
So early. We're still so early.
Yeah, we're so early for that stuff, right? Like the majority of people have no clue what any of that's about. When I tell them we do a podcast and stuff, because I have managers and execs that creep on my LinkedIn and stuff, and everywhere I am, I put a link to our YouTube. I don't care, right? I did almost get myself in trouble though, not too long ago when I was returning a work car, and I was discussing a possible nail in my tire and what I was going to do with it. And then I had a huge exec tell me, hey, I just discovered you have a podcast. So I was like,
yeah.
you know what, LG? I think you may need to edit something out for the first time ever. I'm like, if this guy watches the whole show, I'm screwed, man.
No,
Right?
I do the same. Like, I never tell anybody from my work.
Yeah, it's
anything
tough,
about
but it's out there. That's the thing. If anyone were to look me up on social media, it's all
because you're
out
using your real name. You need a
That's
cool
right.
alias like me.
Well, the real Phil D actually came from an intern at my company who had gone to Cornell University. And this kid was not able to wake up before 11. So what he did is he got an alarm on his phone that makes you walk 1,000 steps before it shuts off. If you don't walk 1,000 steps, it does not turn off.
Steps.
Yes. That was the only way he was able to wake up before 11 every day and come to work. So
holy cow, that is a lot.
So he's like, dude, he's like, when I hear that thing, I got to go for like a sprint around like the entire neighborhood.
Right? It's like a kilometer.
So this kid, he's like, dude, you need to get rid of this Phil Doucette business with your 200 followers on Twitter, and you need to change your name to TheReelPhilD. He's like, that's some good stuff. And I'm looking, I'm like, dude, you're an intern. What the hell do you know? So I listened to him, and here we are, whatever.
There it is.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah, long story short, work meals are great. I try and avoid them just because it's tough, man. Like I find it very tough to eat a big meal and continue working in the afternoon.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't want to drink, like my boss crushes Red Bulls all day and goes for huge meals, just Red Bull after Red Bull after Red Bull. I don't want to do that crap. And but I just found it funny because look, the bank system was down today, or that system was down. And had I been able to use my crypto or anything else, it would have been a simple 2-second swipe of whatever to make that happen, because the banks are not working, and I would have been able to just get out of there. Instead, it caused mass chaos where there was a huge lineup of people. When nobody could pay, they had to break out the black book of like the thieves at work that like leave without paying ever. There's a black book like that they take notes of.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. Like, listen, you got people who think they can do whatever they want. Like they'll pour a soup and like walk off. I said, oh shit, I didn't know I had to pay for that. Right. And HR has actually told the cafeteria people, you can't say anything. You know, these new policies now is if you try and stop somebody who's stealing something at Walmart and you're an employee, you're getting fired. We've seen this everywhere. Oh yeah. You know, these pharmacies like Walgreens that are getting robbed. If any employee steps in front of the person robbing the entire place and tries to stop them, they're the ones getting fired. This is the new thing now. You're not supposed to like get in the way of people doing bad things. Let the authorities handle it. So HR has kind of told the cafeteria people, hey, don't say anything. All right. We'll keep an eye on things like that. So of course you got your thieves. There's a black book where these people's names go into it just so that the cafeteria lady doesn't lose her mind. And they had to pull the book out today and be like, okay, write your name, your department, and what you bought, and you're gonna have to pay for it like tomorrow. But had you had access to your cryptocurrency, which is seen as such a bad thing, you would have been able to just swipe, I guess, your QR code or whatever the hell it is, and been gone in 2 seconds without the bank having their stupid malfunctions. It would have been game over. You know, so for me, that's my vision of where we're going with this, maybe eventually. But even with my bank, man, whenever I'm discussing like transactions sometimes, and they're like, what is that from? I'm like, I don't know what I'm allowed to say. What are all these e-transfers coming from some like Newton wallet? I'm like, it's a podcast. I do. They're like, what podcast?
You're asking too many questions.
They're like, well, maybe you need a business account. I'm like, no, I'm not like actually selling stuff. So no, I don't need that. But you know, but yeah, it's not really mainstream like that. Chamber, we went like kind of way over time, dude. I knew we would. We could probably talk for hours, but you already did a show today. I got stuff to get to. I want to throw a couple things at you before we wrap up.
Sure. Okay?
We got a lot of feedback about the show last week, but I picked one of my favorite comments, and I'm going to get to that in a sec. But I do want to give a breaking news update that I got in my DMs right before we started recording today. Because last week we talked about LeBron James.
Can I play the music?
He's been silent for longer than he's ever been in the offseason. Sure enough, between last show and this show, LeBron came out with this whole thing that he's changing numbers. Okay. And it's still dominating headlines. Like there's nothing else to talk about right now. Baseball was off for like almost a week with the All-Star game. You know, we're not at the British Open yet. The Tour de France, nobody gives a shit about except me. Things like that. You know what I mean? There's nothing to talk about. So LeBron, obviously me being the opportunist that he is, saw this opportunity to like drop that massive bomb that, hey, I'm done with 6. You know, props to MJ, dude, but like I'm taking that number back. I'm going back to 23.
So you know why, right? Do you know why?
Well, because the whole Bill Russell thing.
Yeah,
Is that what it is? Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
So the league gave him 1 year to honor Bill Russell. I guess I didn't know he needed an exemption.
I think.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think last year, like they announced it, like basically the players have like very shortly after like the draft to like change the number if they want to.
Okay.
Like once we get into like August, like you can't do it. So I
Right.
think the Bill Russell stuff happened too close because I'm sure Nike's doing stuff. You know what I mean? Like
they were already set for the season.
There was plans for last season. So yeah, so this season he can go back to 23, which I think is good because I'm sure there's a lot of kids out there that got a 23 Lakers jersey
dude,
a couple years ago back in action. You know what I mean? Like that's good for them. They've been looking like you know, if you're still wearing a 23 jersey last year, that's not a good look. But now it's a great look, you know.
So he came out of the woodwork with that, and I think this is just the beginning of his like crazy media thing. But I received a DM today, very confidential, that seems to reveal the reason we haven't seen or heard from LeBron all offseason until now, and it's still not. We didn't see him. Like he didn't come out and make a press conference.
Wasn't he at the ESPYs?
Was he really? Oh, you're right. He was. Okay, but at the ESPYs, I think he was well behaved, and he wasn't really going. You know, he kept it.
He announced that he wasn't retiring at the ESPYs. That was the big thing.
He, for some reason, he thought that by kind of leaving that doubt at the end of the season that we were all still talking about him retiring. We all know he's not going anywhere.
Nobody thought he was retiring.
He kind of missed the mark with that. LeBron's kind of fading in that department. But I got some breaking news as to what LeBron is actually up to. And I got a very, very confidential DM, all right, asking me not to repeat this to anybody. But I said I would put it on the podcast.
Okay.
It says that the real reason that LeBron has been hiding is because he is getting new hair plugs. That's what I was told.
I mean, yeah, that wouldn't shock me.
I don't know if that's big.
He's got a system, like he's got a hair system going on. I don't know if it's plugs, and I don't think it's straight plugs because sometimes I don't know if you've noticed this or not. He'll get hit like in a game, and like a little.
Oh yeah.
There's like a little. The carpet moves a little bit. You know what I mean?
I've seen.
He's got to pat it down a little bit. So. No, that doesn't shock me. That wouldn't shock me that he had to go to Turkey or something.
Yeah, I don't see it as big news. I just thought it was funny. It was like in confidence that it was kind of put out there that, you know, here's the big news. Like, I don't think it's like crazy breaking news, but hey,
he's 39 years. He's going to be 39 years old. I mean,
I appreciate the message, and I'll always break breaking news. On the subject of the NBA, did you see Steph Curry playing golf this past weekend?
I was going to bring it up to you. Yes. Of
course.
course.
My God, this guy, man! Like someone said, I don't know if it was Draymond or actually it was Rob Gronkowski.
He had like 4 highlights, Like. There was
like that putt there where his body's facing the other way.
The putt was better than the hole in one.
Like the hole's to his left and he's facing the other way. And it's like, what's he doing? He's actually popping the ball up on a line that's going to go all the way up and spin back down towards the hole. And it went in. Like, and he no-looks these things all the time too. No, like the final putt to win it all.
The final putt was nuts.
He no-looked it, man.
Walked off on a tournament winning putt.
Man, like such a selfish part of me hopes that, like, honestly, he stops playing basketball early, and if he was confident enough that he could do really well and make the PGA Tour and compete, that he would make a pivot to the PGA.
Could you imagine?
Dude, you know what? Let him win a couple more championships.
Bo Jackson of golf. And
let him win a couple more, and I guarantee you, because he's obviously been playing for a while, and he obviously has a supernatural hand-eye coordination that nobody else on this planet has to do what he's doing. Okay. Because golf, no matter what type of athlete you are, has always been one of the toughest ones for some of these other sport athletes to play. My daughter actually said something really funny was it my son? One of them texted me when I sent them that shot, because I sent them all the highlights on Instagram, and they were like, yeah. And he hasn't had time to play. Like he hasn't been kicked out. Right. I guess it's a hockey mentality. When you're out of the playoffs, you're playing golf instead.
Yes.
They're like, he hasn't been out of the playoffs to even be playing golf over all these years. So, but incredible. And did you see him taking those basketball shots on the course as well?
No, I didn't.
So there was one hole where there was a basketball net. Okay. And these girls dressed in all white would give him a ball. And I'm telling you, it was like, we're talking longer than an NBA court from where he was standing to the actual basket. The first ball he took, he just pulled up and he swished it. Okay. From like a full court shot.
Unbelievable.
It couldn't have been that far actually, because he actually pulled up and shot like he was shooting a 3. So maybe a half court or 3/4 court.
But like a logo, shot.
More than logo. He drained it, nothing but net, and just walked to the next tee box. Then the next day, he got the ball and he turned around backwards and decided to do a no-look backward shot. It's from the same place, and he launched it and it rimmed out. Like we could try that 100 times and we wouldn't even come close. But the way he gauged the distance, he kind of looked back like this about 5 times, and then he let it just rip, and it should have gone in, to be honest with you. So this guy, man, this guy's unbelievable. He still looks like he's 19 years old.
He does still look like he's 19. He does.
And his celebration on the hole-in-one was the best ever. He sprinted from the tee box to the actual hole faster than any PGA golfer's ever done in their lives.
Ever done it.
And just like high-fiving the crowd and just going crazy. That's entertaining, man. This guy is something special.
He had more. I'm telling you. He had more,
I think so,
moments in that tournament than PGA golfers have had their entire career.
True, man. It's true.
There was, like, I'm telling you, there was for sure 4 classic moments.
Man, unbelievable.
Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. Like,
That's crazy.
I'm with you. I hope he retires.
I hope so. Let him win another chance. All at the expense of. I don't like the Golden State Warriors, and I didn't like it when KD was there mostly, but now I still don't like them. I hope he wins a couple more titles just so he's like, all right. I hope he pulls like a Barry Sanders, at the peak of his career, or I guess maybe that's past, but I hope he just says, like, you know what? I just won another title. I'm out of here at 36 years old, 37 years old. And guess what? I'm trying to try and qualify for the PGA Tour next year. And you're going to see me at the Masters. Like shit like that would be so dope. And
could you imagine what it would do to PGA ratings?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it would be that Phoenix event there, the Waste Management Open. It would be that kind of crowd at every event if Steph Curry was there. And kids would be all over it.
Right.
Like he would be the next Tiger Woods if he had any success like he just did the past weekend.
Yeah,
I don't know what kind of
Tiger was Tiger.
Tiger was Tiger. I don't know what kind of course Steph just played on. I don't know if it's a really hard course or if it's just I don't know if the tee boxes were closer. I didn't follow any of that stuff. I just saw the shots he made.
Either.
I just know that the shots he made, a lot of PGA pros cannot make or have not made. Sorry, they can make it, but they probably haven't on a public stage. So hopefully we get.
I'll speak to some golfers to see their opinion on the just the type of course he played on and how the difficulty level. And so I'll get back to you on this.
So now that Chamber Rekt is down to his last couple of minutes on the First Mint podcast as co-host of this show, he has just promised to come back on the show. We don't know when, to give us a report from Southwest Ontario golfers on what they think.
It's a big golf community down here. Big golf community. It's real
what
deal.
They think about Steph Curry's golf antics. Okay, so now we're officially wrapping up, Chamber. The last thing I wanted to talk to you about, and we're going to end it on this note. We had a very passionate listener send me a DM right after you listened to the episode last week. And you're going to have to answer to this, okay? This listener said, Chamber was fantastic.
Okay.
But when the show first started, he sounded like he had hacked 1,000 cigarettes.
That's good.
I was dying, man. I was absolutely dying. So I actually went back and listened to it, and I can kind of see what he means. But it wasn't the whole show. It was like, you know what? When I start shows sometimes and I haven't been warming up my voice for an hour,
exactly.
it kind of cracks and it's weird and stuff. But this person was adamant that you had been hacking cigarettes the entire time between shows.
I'm going to give you some insight on here, okay? So two things. I just finished recording, so my voice was getting a little bit, it was getting worn out pretty well. That was also the first or second day I had quit smoking.
Wow, there you go. Okay, so this person was onto something. It wasn't that you were hacking cigarettes. It's that you were kind of not in withdrawal, but you were on your way out, and the leftovers were still kind of just playing themselves out, is what it was.
Yeah.
So this person had a good
pretty dialed in.
But the person said it was only at the beginning of the show. Wasn't the rest of the show. It was right at the beginning. They right away they sent the message actually before the episodes. And they're like, yo, Chambers sounds like he's hacked 1,000 cigarettes.
Hey, sweetheart.
All I could think of was like Simpsons. I don't watch Simpsons, but I know that like those two old ladies.
Well, let's Patty and Selma. Okay, let's get it right here. Patty and Selma.
That was insane. And this is, we're always candid with this. We will always tell you what our listeners say because it's them. We don't have to give names, but it is what how they feel.
Absolutely.
they
I'm
always
a
keep
candid
it
guy.
real
I
with
like to
us,
give.
man.
I want to give you. You're asking real questions. I want to give you real answers.
I
So
think that
that's
was a
it.
pretty good answer, and it
That
explains a lot. So,
yeah.
Chamber, any final words before we end this thing?
No, I just
Any
want to
final
say
words? Was this like life-changing stuff for you to co-host these two
it really
episodes with me?
was. It really was. No, I had a blast. I love talking sports and Web3 stuff with you guys. Been a big fan of you guys for a long time. I would say if you need me in the future, if you want to take a well-deserved holiday and you want me to replace you, more than happy to. But yeah, no, I had a blast. I now have somebody when my co-host doesn't want to do the show, I can have you on my show
Oh,
and we
dude,
can just do a
anytime,
great
man.
show. But we will,
Anytime.
we will get you. We do 3 shows a week on Spaces. They're put out as
Wow. Oh
podcasts
yeah, I love Spaces.
as the mint condition, not the first mint,
The
the
mint
mint
condition.
condition.
Wow. Oh yeah, okay.
Uh,
I've seen that.
yeah, come on, it's like a top 5 podcast in the space.
Whoa. All right.
Well, there's room for you guys in that top 5.
So where can we find them in condition? That's a good thing. A lot of people are like, all right, this Chamber guy's pretty cool. Now, where can we find his stuff?
I would say you'll love if you like this, you'll love them in condition. You can find anywhere, wherever you find the first mint, you can find the mint condition. Spotify, Apple, all the places where you find podcasts. But if you want to hop in live, you can hop in every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern on Spaces. You can follow me. You can follow the Mint Condition. You can follow the DJ Network on Twitter, and you'll be able to listen live. You can come in and participate, which is fun. I think you guys should do a Spaces eventually because it's fun. You get your guy, you get your community up and they talk,
forever,
they ask
man.
questions.
It's been forever. Like
It's
we haven't
very,
done Spaces in forever.
Yeah, it's fun. I have some tips and tricks for you guys if you think of going that direction. But yeah, it was a blast. If you ever need me again, more than happy to help out.
It was a tremendous pleasure, man. I had no idea what I was getting into. I'm glad you won that contest. I'm glad you stole it late, Joe Biden style, because I don't know that I would have the same chemistry
Dark
with
Brandon.
But I had no idea where you were from. I had no idea what you were all about. I had a blast recording these with you. I think we probably could have gone on for a couple more hours. I had tons of subjects could have talked about, and that's always a good sign. So thank you for actually submitting your name to do this. The last thing I will say, Chamber, is that you were one of the ones that DM'd like, yo, when that contest came out, you're like, yo, I'll do it if you need somebody. And me and LG were like, man, how many of these are we going to get where the person is just like saying, screw the damn contest, I'll just do it. I was laughing so hard. Hold on, it's a contest and we're getting the DM that, hey, I'll do it.
Yeah, just let me do it. That's much
just let me do it. If you need someone, I will do it.
Yeah,
like that was like the bypass attempt.
Honestly,
like, no.
There's so many things we haven't got to speak about because
it's unreal.
Next time, there will be a next time. We will discuss WWE, WWF.
We love that.
All that good stuff because I want to talk about it a lot. Out of curiosity, I have one last question for you before we wrap up.
Let's do it.
I want your top. Give me your top 3 favorite wrestlers all time.
Okay, so I haven't watched. I followed wrestling forever. I haven't really been into the recent stuff as much. I was really into it in high school and like around that era.
Yeah.
So number 1 for me, Stone Cold Steve Austin by a country mile. Okay?
Really? Okay.
Oh, by far.
All right.
After that, it goes back as far as, man, back in the day, I was obsessed with. Actually, I have to throw Trish Stratus in there. I was just like in love with her for the longest time. She's Canadian, right? From Toronto. So I was super obsessed with her. And then now I didn't even know he was still here until I ran that Royal Rumble contest for Top Shot Moments, which I do every year. Edge was always one of my favorites.
Oh, love a good Edge.
Right? Like I'm obviously kind of geared towards the Canadian ones.
Yeah.
But when it comes to just pure entertainment, for me, Stone Cold, like the days of the Zambonis and the beer trucks and beating the shit out of Vince with like the pee bucket from the hospital and things like that. Like, dude, it doesn't get better than that.
I love it.
I was obsessed, man. I used to go to every show in Toronto. I would have the full 316, like, the merch you could buy back then was awesome. Like it was all, if you didn't have that 316 shirt, you needed to get it. And just some good times, man. So many good memories. It all started, I think, with that wrestling game in the arcades where you could be like, who was it? What was that cop called? Big Boss Man.
Big Boss Man, yeah.
Right? Things like that. It all started with that, where you could be Undertaker, Big Boss Man, and
Like
fight in that
Ultimate
ring
Warrior.
with Doink the Clown, Hulk
Yes.
Hogan, Ultimate Warrior. Man,
Doink the Clown.
some really good memories, man.
That's-
Okay, so you know what? Give me your top three real quick. So I'm actually intrigued.
Top three
We're
real
not going to go
quick.
further than that because we'll
I'm going number one overall Taker, Undertaker
Okay.
number one overall. I'm going Bret the Hitman Hart number two,
Yeah, I like Brad.
and then I'm going Macho Man Randy Savage number
There
three.
you go. So you're retro too, then. All right, I thought you were gonna go some
Those are
new-
my favorites. There's some newer guys that I like, but all time Undertaker to me is the best all time.
the best. I agree. Well, on that note, we're going to end it. Chamber, thank you so much, man. It's been a true blast co-hosting with you the last couple of days. I'm glad we didn't actually can the episodes because that was an option that LG gave me when he said I'm going to be away for 2 weeks. I'm like, dude, the show must go on, man. All right. We already barely post on Twitter when you're not there. Actually, I should probably post it on Twitter when he wasn't there. I didn't even think about it. And we're, things are just slowing down in general that, we have to keep things going for our community because they enjoy
Absolutely.
listening to us. I think you fit in perfectly. You're a great fit for this. So thank you again for doing it with me. And hopefully we can run it back soon. To all the listeners, thank you so much. Wishing you a great kind of week as we head into the dog days of summer soon. If you're kind of missing mainstream sports because it's just baseball right now and things like that, the NFL is coming really, really soon. Training camps start in a couple weeks. Get excited for that. But we'll be back. LG is back next week. He confirmed with me the only reason he couldn't come on today is because he was flying back home. He is going back to his lair, the Grinch's lair, I call it. He will be back home. He will be on the episode with me next week. And thank you again for listening. And we look forward to talking to you guys again in a week's time.
Your search is over, now welcome to First Mint. Looking for NFT content? Look no further, cause this is it. From Top Shot to blockchain, they got the data chops, analysis, impact drops, the show's equator hot. LG and Phil D, the best amongst others. Best brothers to happen to ball since the Ball brothers. So settle in, cause it's time for the best show.